All right, game on. Day 2, day 3 of playing. Still here at the Mighty Endeavor. As you can see, lots of progress has been made. We are in late November of 1944. The Allies have pushed up, sort of solidified their line. This last turn, they ended up into Brussels, Antwerp. They got some of the dikes and fjords around the city. The Brits pushing north. They've taken some casualties. The Germans have been pretty efficient counterattacking, but you can see the defensive line pushing back into the Ardennes is starting to form up, although we're a little behind schedule, I think, historically. The Allies have really spread and stretched here, really threatening to get onto some of these highways and roads all the way out into sort of southeastern Germany, which would be very debilitating for me, so I'm doing my best to try and clog it up, but he's been very unlucky with the air power rolls on the last couple of turns, and so he hasn't quite had the air support to make the attacks that he's been making all game, which is a nice relief for me. But these guys who are still coming up from Marseille have been trapped against the Swiss border. I did declare defend the Reich at the end of turn 14, which means they will not surrender. But they are going to be out of supply for quite some time, and it's forcing at least the units from Operation Dragoon who are coming up from the south of France to stop and deal with them so that they don't get their supply lines cut off or what have you. But overall, I'm very nervous about what's going on with the Germans right now. I do still have some fallback positions, just trying to slow it down as much as possible. Over in the east, the Germans have had some massive breakthroughs. Down here around Budapest, they took even before November, rolled around, I believe, might have been right at the beginning of November, and they have exploited that hugely, moving up a lot of their armor into Vienna. They've crossed the Danube. There's really no German resistance to speak of other than what you can see here. There's a yellow token on that unit, which I'm unsure about.
That's an attack.
That's going to be an attack, gotcha. We got some very tiny German units assembling in Prague, but nothing that's going to slow the Russians down if they can get some HQ activations. A lot of these units in Slovakia who are in the mountains have now become surrounded because up in the north, especially through here towards Breslau, the Russians just pounded the Germans into dust and have moved quickly to get on those highways. They've got 5 HQs in play now, which means that every turn there's good odds that the Russians are going to get to go, which is nice. And these German units here are going to find themselves quickly out of supply, I think. We just took Warsaw this turn. That's been slow going. I haven't been able to get that HQ activated for many turns. And that's mostly where the German strength lies at this point, although now you can see that it's going to be pretty easy to kind of swing around and maybe pocket all of those guys. There's really no resistance here between Berlin and the center of the Soviet army. So if I can get some good rolls, I think we can make some great progress here. It's sort of as we approach the end of the game. We think that we're not going to have to go the distance. We think it'll be over pretty soon. But as you can see, the Reich collapsing from both ends. All right, so the Soviet army has managed to completely pocket all of these German units in Slovakia in the mountains here, which is very bad. So the German player has decided that they're going to be trying to do a massive breakout operation here across the mountains, basically, on some of these weaker positions, because if they don't, they're going to be out of supply, and then they're going to start attriting. So we've got some German offensive activity happening here. Okay, let's do a walk around here on Thursday night. I haven't done one yet today, although I've seen a lot of games being played. We had some Caesar Conquest of Gaul going on earlier. There's a Twilight Imperium 4 game happening. Merchants and Marauders is set up here. I'm not sure if they played it or they're going to be playing it. Still Lord of the Rings, no one's touched. Still going at it over there. I saw some Commands and Colors Samurai playing over here with a couple of these guys. This is Conquest and Consequence. Mun, you're playing the Japanese?
Heck no, I'm playing the Americans.
You're playing the Allies.
I'm playing the...
I'll take a look at it. All right, that's different.
I'm playing the
USA.
The
Forces of
Democratic
Democracy.
Republic of China.
That's right. The ones who historically lost badly.
Hey, we still have Taiwan.
A little horse racing going on over here. It's really funny. We've been playing Mighty Endeavor as long as they've been playing Time for Trumpets, and it doesn't look like anything has changed there. And in fact, we are sort of at the Bulge. Well, we're past the Battle of the Bulge chronologically in our game, but it's still going on. Not a whole lot of counters have moved since I last looked at this yesterday morning.
Well, there's been significant progress.
Oh, is there? Okay, good. Great.
It plays pretty much in real time.
Oh, okay. So you guys will be here till after Christmas.
Yeah, pretty much.
More Furnace happening. It's a popular one. Not really sure about that. Swap meet's over. I did sell some games, which is nice. Financed my lunch. Cthulhu Wars. Looks like some expansions in play.
Ritual.
Fun game. I used to own it. Oh wow, this is wow. This looks amazing. This circular map. I don't even know what game this is. They have a whole sideboard over here. Someone who's watching this, tell me what game this is. World War II? Yep. Crazy setup.
But that still seems very
Unfair.
mechanical.
It's a game I have not played.
1 row, so 2 points.
Azul happening there. We got games for sale happening. The store setting up, people picking up some stuff. Oh, nice. You scored W1815, huh? I've been looking for this game for a long time.
So we are
Do you
the
have more?
exclusive.
I know.
Yeah. Do we have any more?
I don't know. Do you have any more?
I only grabbed what was on the shelf. I didn't look in. Oh, okay. I think there's like another thing. Or you want to play? In a spirit?
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. I can't. We're almost done with Mighty Endeavor, but when I'm done, yeah. You scored the game I've been after for so long. You beat me to it. I should have come over here.
Well, we'll check and we'll bring more from the store. Yeah, Helsinki.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. If you have any more, I'll buy one tomorrow.
Do we take any we can do that next way.
There you go. That's how stuff gets done here. Their local store up the street. They come up. They actually get the UP games from Finland. They're able to distribute them in the U.S., which is very cool. Looks like Dominant Species going up there. Still BCS. All BCS all the time. Significant progress made here. That I know because I came by.
We don't have a
yesterday.
double objective.
And so that's what's happening tonight. There's going to be more games going on. We're almost done with Mighty Endeavor. I'll give you a quick view of that. They're still playing Smolensk over here. It looks like looks like the Soviets may be punching back. Germans may be stalled out a little bit is what that looks like. But here's our game. The Allies have been going hard in the Ardennes for the last probably 3 months, 2 months, maybe 3 months. It's been a real slog, and just now on this turn, I felt like I was doing really well as the Germans defending. I really put the kibosh on their offensive. I really stamped down on their progress. It's been very frustrating for Steve, who's been playing the Allies, to get through here on the West Wall. Unfortunately, I just had to send 6 Panzer divisions to the East Front, where I am absolutely crushing it with the Soviets, and so that has really denuded the strength here, and I think it's only a matter of time before he breaks through. Thankfully, we are on turn 21, so we are closing in rapidly on the end of the game. The Soviets here have absolutely, they actually pocketed the entire German army that was here in Slovakia, and they just disappeared, poof. There's a couple German remnants here and there, but last turn I basically spent the entire turn moving the entire Soviet line forward, trying to save up my HQ activation so I can do a big offensive. Really the only German resistance left is going to be here around Berlin. We're almost there. I've taken Prague, I've taken Vienna, and it's just probably a matter of time here. So it's going to be who can get that key breakthrough first. And if I roll well in these HQs, the Soviets are set up to really whack the Germans here, especially because they were able to grab these positions in the mountains before the Germans could use them for cover. So we're closing in on the end. I think we're going to finish tonight, and then we'll have a debrief for you. All right, here we are at last. I think over 20 hours, I think we played this. Yeah, so we just finished turn 25 of the Mighty Endeavor. We made it all the way through to the historical end of the fall of Berlin, the end of World War II. The Allies, as you can see, ground their way through the Ardennes as hard as they could. They achieved I would say mixed success, except down here in the south, all these victory point locations, and they also managed to get units all the way into southeastern Germany, broke through the German lines, snagged a bunch of victory points. A lot of them started wandering up towards the city of Berlin up there, captured some more victory point locations. They put themselves out of supply. It got a little gamey at the end, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I also didn't play defense probably as well as I could have. But you can see that the Germans still have a pretty robust defense along the Rhine. The Allies certainly closing the noose. I maybe should have pulled back a little bit harder sort of towards the end of the game to prevent that from happening, but all these victory points on the hoof that the Allies grabbed, impressive. We got one final batch of reinforcements that tried to free up, I believe that is Munster up there for the cheese, free the cheese. We did manage here at the end to knock off Magdeburg from an out-of-supply Allied unit. That is potentially very big because that spot was worth 3 or 4 points. And then we came down here, knocked out an HQ, managed to grab Nuremberg back from the Allies. Just some sort of victory point sweeping up at the end, but as you can see the cluster that this turned into here, like the Germans utterly surrounded, the Allies having their way with them. The only thing that really prevented the Germans from being like completely eliminated was the supply restrictions on the Allied side. Then we take it over here to the east front. The Russians, you can see, got on their racehorses. Once they made a bunch of breakthroughs along the line, the Germans just fell back and fell back and fell back. And I actually spent one whole turn with the Russians moving the entire army forward, essentially in like a giant sweeping maneuver. We're on the outskirts of Berlin. We're on the cusp of taking the city. We didn't quite get there, but we did manage to snag some of the suburbs. You can see Potsdam there. What's that?
The heroes.
That's Dresden, I believe. Yeah, Dresden managed to hold out against Russian attack for most of the game. The southern part of the Russian front was not able to make their way through there. It was a really tight, bad terrain situation. But in the north, they just swept down. I think one more turn and the Russians would have had Berlin, all of the hexes, but they didn't quite make it. Some Germans out of supply. The Russians came on at the end. Unfortunately, in the final 2 turns, I rolled very few HQ activations, and that essentially meant that I had to try and play the outflank game and couldn't get any attacks off. And when I did get attacks off, there were just too many zones of control in the way with these little tiny German units blocking the path forward. And also the Russian infantry is very slow. So we're about to count this up and see who won the game. You can see it's kind of an even mix of points. More of these are worth more points than these are, but he's definitely got more of them. Yeah, these are the main ones. A lot of 1s and 2s, that's right. So we're gonna count this up and I'll come right back and we'll see who won it. But an epic experience all the way through and a really fun game. I really liked it, really enjoyed it. Here we are. We just counted up the points. What'd you have for the Western Allies?
40.
The Soviets had 46.
No.
20 hours to get a 6-point difference between which Allied faction beat the Germans bad enough. And actually the difference ended up being that final turn where I grabbed the 4, I snatched the 4 away from you and grabbed the outskirts of Berlin, right there, basically.
So it basically did come down to
the final turn.
Final turn.
It was the activity on the final turn that decided the game. That's crazy.
That's good.
That's crazy.
That's good.